standing in their way.
And everyone can speculate about what that would mean for President Assad. But the
create the kind of international pressure and environment that encourages the current Syrian regime to step aside so that a more democratic process of transition can take place.
You would have probably guessed that America is very keen to take Bashar al-Assad out of his presidential office. Now there are various reasons of that. One of the most important reasons is the Qatar pipeline. In 2000, Qatar proposed a pipeline project. The gas pipeline was to be drawn from Qatar to the different European countries. The only problem was the pipeline has to be moved through Syria. Now almost the same pipeline project was proposed by Russia. As Syria is an old partner of Russia, so Syrian regime supported Russia in the pipeline project. America wants to install a puppet government in Syria so that they may install the Qatar pipeline project and benefit from it.
Partners, they only accept followers. Even Europe is not partner of the United States. That's to be very frank with you. So this is their problem with Syria. They need somebody to keep saying yes, yes man, a puppet, marionette, and so on. Somebody who can control by remote control.
Another important reason for why America is very keen to take Bashar al-Assad and his regime out of Syria is the Iraq invasion. In 2003, when USA invaded Iraq, the Syrian government did not support the invasion.
Ask you to join with them in the coalition. You must have felt a lot of pressure.
Exactly. And
your father had supported the war in '91.
There's a big difference between the two wars. The first war was to liberate Kuwait, and we supported the liberation of Kuwait, and we were against the invasion of Kuwait by Saddam. But what the United States is doing now is what Saddam did to Kuwait. They invaded Iraq. This is first, as principle. We are against occupation as principle. Second,
as Bush stated that time, anyone who does not support USA will be an enemy of USA.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists. Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy. There's no in between. You're either with us or you're with the enemy. That's clear. I will continue to make that clear.
As Syrian regime did not support the Iraq invasion by US, so the different sanctions had been put on the Syria since 2003, which has resulted in the financial crisis of the country. One of the main reasons for the removal of Bashar al-Assad and installing a puppet government is the Golan Heights area. Golan Heights is the area between the Israel and Syrian border. It is the official land of Syria, but it is occupied by the Israel. America wants to install a puppet government in Syria so that the land of Golan Heights will not be touched. Because the Golan Heights is one of the most oil-rich areas of the world, probably the most oil-rich area. So America and Israel wants this area. Also, the deep state of America wants war. They need war to benefit from it. So they chose Syria for the war, and they are benefiting from it right now. Now these are the main reasons America wants Bashar al-Assad out of his presidential office. But these are the reasons that are not presented to you by the mainstream media. That's because the mainstream media is not telling you the truth. In fact, not even a single mainstream channel on the world is unbiased. Every mainstream channel has its own purposes, has its own policy, and is following that policy for its country. So trusting these mainstream media channels is ridiculous. They are lying to you everything about Syria. For example, the start of Syrian war. The reason presented by the mainstream media for the start of Syrian war is that during the Arab Spring in 2011, the local population of Syria came against the government. They started protesting against the government, and the government troops used force on them. As a result of the brutality of the government forces, the protests escalated, and that resulted in the civil war. Now these are total lies and deceits. One can simply understand this by just one simple fact. During the first 30 years of the Syrian war, in 2011, 12 and 13, 52,000 Syrian soldiers were killed and 29,000 protesters were killed. Now the stats suggest everything. How come the peaceful protesters killed the 52,000 armed brutal forces, while the brutal forces only managed to kill the 29,000 in return. Just imagine the number 52,000. Now in the 16 years of the war, the terrorist organizations have managed to kill 30,000 Pakistani soldiers, while the peaceful protesters in Syria have managed to kill 52,000 Syrian soldiers in just 3 years. How can this even happen? That's because these were not the peaceful protesters. These were the terrorists backed by the USA and Israel. The terrorists of Jaish al-Islam, Jamaat al-Nusra, ISIS and other organizations. These were backed by US, Israel and its allies. After the first 3 years of the killing of the Syrian soldiers, the Syrian government decided to use force on the protesters, which were the terrorists, and then the mainstream media called it a civil war. While this is not a civil war, the war in Syria is not a civil war. The war in Syria is a terrorist war. The government troops are fighting against the terrorists. The protesters had nothing to do with the local residents of the Syria. These are the terrorists backed by the US and its allies. The war in Yemen is a civil war. Even the war in Afghanistan is a civil war. But the war in Syria is a terrorist war and it is not a civil war. You are being lied by the mainstream media. Now let's consider some of the allies of the US. One of the most important allies of the US that are supporting the terrorist organizations in the Syria are Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Turkey and NATO allies. Now the role of Turkey is very interesting. Tayyip Erdogan, who seems to be a very generous and a very inspiring person, hates Israel and its brutality in the Palestine, but supports the US and is a member of the NATO. A very simple question. Every child in this world knows that Israel and US are same. How comes Turkey supports US and hates Israel while Israel and US are the same? This is a very simple question and I have been trying to find an answer to it. I haven't found that answer yet. Another important allegation by the mainstream media about the Syrian government is the Shia-Sunni conflict. According to the mainstream media, Bashar al-Assad is a Shia, while most of the population of Syria is Sunni. So Bashar al-Assad is using force against the Sunni Muslims of the Syria. While that's not true. Bashar al-Assad is an Alwi Shia. And why is he Shia? That's because his parents are Shia. He himself is a secular person. How can he hate and kill Sunnis while his own wife is a Sunni? Moreover, during the Islamic festivals, the Eids, Bashar al-Assad offered prayers in the Sunni mosque. How come he kills Sunnis on the one hand while marries a Sunni girl and offer prayers in the Sunni mosque and is loved by the Sunni people? If he had been killing Sunni Muslims in Syria, his wife would have been the first person to oppose him, while his relations with his wife are very good. That's because he is not killing the Sunni Muslims. In fact, he is killing the terrorists of the terrorist organization backed by the US and its allies. US has been making the fool of people since a long time. One should remember the testimony of 16-year-old girl in the UN before the Iraq invasion.
They took the babies out of the incubators. Took the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
Who explained the brutality of the Iraqi soldiers, which resulted in the Iraq war, and millions of people died as a result, while later it was found that the testimony was wrong and the girl was lying. Similarly, America is using the accusations of the chemical attack. Every chemical attack allegations are false and deceit. Just consider an example of the last chemical attack allegation in Duma in eastern Ghouta of Syria. You are watching this video right now. Just look at this video and analyze. Are the children really dying? Are their eyes reddish? Are they suffocating? They are not showing the symptoms of the chemical war. I can give you the several reasons proving that these chemical attack allegations are false. Just look at the video and analyze it yourself. Now let us consider some of the important things of the Syrian government, which you will hear from no one except me. One of the most important things of the Syrian government is that in the Syria there is free education. Total free education from KG prep nursery to the PhD. Any educational institution will not take a single cent of fees from you. And that is a very rare thing. I am a student and I know how much it costs to get an education. While in the Syria, the whole nation is getting education for free. Not only the education, the medical facilities are free. No doctor in Syria will charge you a single dollar of fees. Everything is free and is under government control. Bashar al-Assad roams in the street without even a single bodyguard? How come he kills people at the same time and mix with the same people without even a single bodyguard? Had he been so brutal that has been displayed on the mainstream media, the people would have killed him the very first day. While it is not, the people love him. He moves without even a single bodyguard. Also, the different government officials and the army officials move in the Syria without even a single bodyguard. There is no protocol or VVIP culture in the Syria whatsoever. And that is a very rare thing for me. Living in a subcontinent in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, it is a very rare thing. Now just analyze the situation. There is a free education in Syria, free medical facilities in Syria, no protocol VVIP culture. Some of the other grand projects such as the Student Pioneer Program, which is one of the best programs of the world, and the other things of the Syrian regime, which you are not being told. What you are being told are totally lies and deceits. So if you watch this video and you come by the truth, so it is your duty to spread this truth to everyone else, so that the truth might conquer someday. Until the next video, goodbye.